Michael Popok, Legal AF. We had a strange turn of events today in federal court in Nevada when a magistrate judge decided to release, pending his trial, the informant for the FBI, Alexander Smirnov, who's indicted for having lied to the FBI and the Department of Justice about bribes paid to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Joe Biden and Hunter Biden aren't going to jail, but it looks like Alexander Smirnov could. And a magistrate judge in Nevada decided, despite overwhelming evidence presented by the Department of Justice, that Alexander Smirnov is still cooperating and collaborating with Russian foreign intelligence agents, including those who have expressed to him and have been picked up on wiretaps and in emails that they are interested in trying to influence the outcome of the 2024 election. This magistrate judge thought it was a good idea to put Mr. Smirnov back on the street. It's shocking based on the information that was provided by the Department of Justice to the magistrate judge. And just a quick primer, in federal court related to crimes, there's a district court judge who's the main judge for a case, but things like the arraignment, issues related to bond, conditions of release, pretrial issues generally go to a magistrate. Just search warrants, subpoenas, that type of thing. So we have a magistrate judge who decided that despite the fact that it appears that Mr. Smirnov, based on the information supplied by the Department of Justice, lied about the amount of money and resources he had at his disposal. He told the pretrial detention division that he only had about 2,500. Looks like he's got about 8 million between himself and his girlfriend in access. You know, that's a big miss in terms of your resources. And they're also afraid that because of his close contacts with at least 3 different Russian intelligence agents who are hell-bent on trying to improperly influence the outcome of our election, he has the means, the motive, the method, and the resources to avoid showing up in court again. And they also said this particular guy in the Department of Justice filing against pretrial release that he also travels on 2 passports, and that it would be very easy for him to walk into, let's say, the Israeli consulate and walk out with a new passport and be untraceable. Well, the magistrate didn't hear all that. The magistrate decided that an ankle bracelet would be sufficient to ensure that this guy was going to attend. But let me read you some of the most critical elements. Now, remember, Smirnov is at the heart of the House Oversight Committee led by MAGA Republicans like James Comer, the heart of their Biden impeachment proceeding. He was their star witness, just as this one time he was the FBI star witness, because he was going to testify, if only it were true, that he paid, or that there were 2 payments made of $5 million apiece to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden by Burisma, the oil company that Hunter Biden was on the board of, in order to get them to help influence Burisma, help them go public in the United States in terms of going to capital markets as a public company. And also to take the heat off of Burisma because of a prosecutor problem they were having in their own country, and they were going to use Joe Biden for that. The only problem with that, it was a complete and total made-up falsehood, fake, fugazi, and the like. And so instead of Hunter Biden and Joe Biden being prosecuted, the confidential human source, the CHS, or the confidential informant, Alexander Smirnov, has now been indicted. But listen to what the Department of Justice put in its filing that was submitted to the magistrate judge on this particular issue. They talk, of course, about the charges against them, which are lying to the federal government. So they're basically telling the judge, why would you expect him to tell the truth to the probation department, the pretrial services department, if he lied and that's the basis of his lawsuit? They basically say, and they say up front in the introduction, no condition or combination of conditions will reasonably assure the appearance of the defendant, Alexander Smirnov, as required in court. They can't even think of one. They say first, he claims to have contacts with multiple foreign intelligence agencies and had plans to leave the United States 2 days after he was arrested for a months-long multi-country foreign trip, presumably on the foreign intelligence agency's dime. Second, he has access to over, I think I said 8 million. Here it says 6 million in liquid funds, having told the pretrial services department, which is responsible for preparing the memos to give to the magistrate judge about what should happen here. He didn't say 6 million. He said he had 6,500. That's a big swing. And the fact that he misrepresented his assets, the Department of Justice told the magistrate that alone is enough. And the fact that he's been charged with lying to the government is enough to keep him under wraps and in jail until trial. Now, I'll tell you, pretrial detention is usually reserved for violent criminals or ones where the judge does not believe that he can accurately secure his proper compliance, the defendant's proper compliance with the criminal justice system's requirements. Don't reinvent yourself for the new year. Just rehydrate yourself with Liquid IV. With 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients for everyday wellness, Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone, all in a single sugar-free stick, so you can feel like a hydrated new you ready to take on 2024. I love how Liquid IV makes me feel. Also, the packaging is super convenient and makes it easy to carry with for when I need it most. My favorite flavor, white peach. It's robust and super satisfying, but you can't go wrong with green grape and lemon lime either. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. And there are no artificial sweeteners and 0 sugar. It's non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. Rehydrate yourself for the new year. Grab your Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier, sugar-free in bulk nationwide at Costco, or get 20% off your first order when you go to liquidiv.com and use Legal AF at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code Legal AF at liquidiv.com. But this judge went a different direction. But let me just read you the most interesting parts about the confidential informant and the relationship with the Russians, the Russian intelligence agencies. It said, this is on page 16 of the filing by the Department of Justice. While Smirnov has no ties to the community in Las Vegas, what he does have is an extensive foreign ties, including most troubling, and by his own account, contact with foreign intelligence services, including Russian intelligence agencies, and he had contacts like that recently. Of particular note, the paper goes on, Smirnov has reportedly numerous contacts with Russian official one, not named, who has been described by Smirnov in a number of ways, including as the son of a former high-ranking Russian government official, someone who purportedly controls 2 groups of individuals tasked with carrying out assassination efforts in a third-party country, a Russian representative to another country, and as someone with ties to a particular Russian intelligence service. During the trip that he recently took, Smirnov apparently attended a separate meeting with Russian official number 1, the official who controls groups that are engaged in overseas assassination efforts. This is a lovely meeting. During this meeting with Russian official 1, he claimed that another individual, Russian official 4, the head of a particular unit of Russian intelligence, ran an intelligence operation at a club located at a particular hotel. Listen to this one. The Russian intelligence service intercepted several calls, according to Smirnov, placed by a prominent U.S. persons the Russian government may use as compromat in the 2024 election, depending on who the candidates would be, meaning they'll use them as unwitting assets to compromise the election and try to throw it to the person that they want to win. This is the guy the magistrate judge decided to let out with an ankle bracelet. I don't know what you have to do in this country. Apparently ties with Russian intelligence services, including ones that are responsible for assassinations in other countries and are trying to influence our election, isn't enough. Now, his lawyers, taking a page out of Donald Trump's playbook, argued that the only way for their client to get a fair deal in due process is for him to be out on bail, to be able to cooperate with the lawyers in order to fight back against the government that's out of control. No evidence of that. And David Weiss, by the way, special prosecutor, was originally appointed by Donald Trump, just to show you where he's in. Now, the magistrate judge, Daniel Albrechts, is reasonably well respected in Nevada circles. I don't know what happened here in terms of the hearing itself, but instead of siding with the government and making this guy go in for lying about his assets, having foreign intelligence relationships, including with people who were responsible for pushing buttons and committing assassinations in other countries, with ready access to cash that he lied about. I don't really get it. But he said he's going to allow Smirnov to be released from custody on an electronic monitoring anklet while he awaits trial. He has to stay in Clark County, Nevada, where he's not from. He's from Israel, and is prohibited from applying for a new passport. And remember, he was picked up and arrested and indicted for lying to the FBI. Good luck, pretrial services, with getting this guy to comply. Now, one false move, and he will end up in jail. I mean, just to show you by contrast, Sam Bankman-Fried, who headed FTX, the failed House of Cards cryptocurrency company, he was out originally on bail until he did some bad things, including trying to influence witnesses. And then he was put in jail by Judge Lewis Kaplan in New York. Now, they do things slightly different in Nevada, including how they pronounce the name of the state. It's not Nevada, it's Nevada. But I practice law in Nevada as well, not regularly, but I do it on a pro hoc special admission purposes. I've got an office located there in my law firm. So I kind of know the players in most of these things. I don't know what the magistrate judge was thinking. I think if anybody was ripe to put away pre-trial and let him meet with his lawyers wearing an orange jumpsuit, it would be Alexander Smirnov. But, we live in trying times right now, no pun intended. And there's a lot of politics in Nevada. And there's a lot of, Republicans in Nevada. So maybe tossing this guy a bone and letting him stay out with an ankle bracelet was their idea of trying to balance the playing field, level the playing field. I don't know, but we're going to have to continue to follow this. Remember, Smirnov's self-immolation, self-destruction, self-sabotage, in which he was outed as being a liar and has been indicted by the FBI for being an unreliable witness against Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. And that, of course, has now tanked the impeachment proceedings against Joe Biden and the attempt to get information out of Hunter Biden. I mean, Smirnov, for all intents, was going to be like the star witness testifying in front of the government if Special Counsel David Weiss hadn't figured out that he'd been had by a lying informant. But we'll have to continue to follow what goes on. We got to get him out of Nevada. If I were the special prosecutor, I would move to extradite him to the Central District of California, where the case is pending, and get him out of Nevada, whose only connection to the defendant Smirnov is that the guy came off a plane on his way to Vegas. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of compelling interest here. So if I were to guess about what happens next, the Department of Justice Special Counsel makes a motion that would go directly to the district court judge, who's above the magistrate judge, and ask that he be extradited, Smirnov be extradited to California. And at that time, they could revisit the issue of pretrial detention in front of a more reasonable judge, magistrate in the Central District of California. But we'll continue to follow what happens on the MeidasTouch network. Over 2 million strong of free subscribers. Join them. Help them get to 3 million before the November election. And then you can follow me, Michael Popok, on all things at the intersection of law, politics, and justice. One place only, Legal AF, the leading podcast. And the title's exactly what you think. Every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the MeidasTouch network, and then on audio podcast platforms of your choice. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.